Got you. And we live?
And we are live. Let's try to give the folks a chance to jump in. I'm send a few links out.
Yes, sir.
As always. Definitely appreciate the young Rocky making it happen. This was an excellent idea too, man, because some of the subjects get a little redundant. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the same old conversations that really, even though it's a good conversation to have with regards to just putting some of that information out. We know ultimately the people who we talking to and who talking to us, no, they ain't changing our mind and we ain't changing their mind. So
yeah. And we waste too much time arguing on like facts. Exactly. We got so much access to so much information. We just sit here and argue about facts. You know what I mean?
Exactly. For hours. And when we can be doing, other things like this that I think can be more productive. So yeah, I definitely appreciate this.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think for me personally, I think and I'm sure y'all can attest to this, we know language pops up with culture, and culture is important, and languages as a mode of expression is important in that culture. But we're in a peculiar situation here where we kind of gotta take different puzzle pieces and put the culture of our ancestors together with whatever culture that we're starting to build here. And one thing that's important in the success of any group of people, or the success of a country at least, is literacy. And what I mean by literacy, I don't mean if you can read or write. I don't just mean also if you can comprehend what you're saying, but I mean a genuine intellectual curiosity. Somebody that goes home and you might have a goal, you might only read one book a month. Things like that is important to nurturing your mind and you know what I mean, keeping everything fresh. So this right here, the writer's corner is very, very important, because writers are the gatekeepers of culture. They the gatekeepers of history. They the gatekeepers of time.
Absolutely.
And even and they too humble, right? Because I don't know how Sean gonna play it, right? I don't know if Sean gonna humble out, right? But I feel like we have a tendency to be too humble sometimes. And Kyle was telling me this. He was telling this shit to Sabio too, bro. We have a tendency of being too humble sometimes when you need to know, like, I'm that dude. You feel me? And be proud of that. So the brother we brought on today for you guys, I looked to him for a lot of information, especially on COVID, during the COVID crisis in West Africa. But the importance on it is that this Black man is a writer, a prolific writer, and he continues to write and spread information to us and give it to us. And I think those people in our community, those creatives, because there's also a creative element to writing about historical stuff, those people need to be celebrated, and we also need to give them their flowers while they're here with us. So this will be the first of many interviews for you guys on YouTube to see. And I know y'all gonna learn a lot, and I hope y'all learn a lot. So Bianchi, I don't know if you want to start your usual introduction, or we can just let the brother go ahead with his introduction.
Well, yeah, I got to do my usual spiel. It wouldn't be Paradigm Shift TV if I didn't. But let me go ahead and get that out the way so y'all can rock this out. So with that being said, welcome to Paradigm Shift TV 314. This is your brother, Bianchi Patah Muntu Nefer Amon Ra, aka DMG. And today we got another powerful show for you with a powerful brother, two powerful brothers actually. And before I let them get into their spiel, let me do my usual stick. I want to say hotep to the Kemetic brothers and sisters watching. I want to say shalom to the Israelite brothers and sisters. I want to say God bless to our Christian brothers and sisters. I want to say assalamu alaikum to our brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam. I want to say Islam to our Moorish brothers and sisters. Peace to our brothers and sisters in the nation of gods and earth, them 5%ers. And finally, I want to say Jumbo to the rest of our brothers and sisters throughout the African diaspora, be it here in the wilderness of the United States of America or beyond. Y'all know I say that greeting because if you're Black, I'm with you, and I hope that you're with me. Our different ideologies should not keep us from uniting, and we can disagree without being disrespectfully disagreeable, and we can have unity without uniformity. And with that being said, brothers, I'm gonna turn it over to y'all and let y'all do y'all thing.
Yes, sir. So I want the brother, go ahead. Sean, go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks, man.
First of all, man, I appreciate you, Rocky, reaching out and having me on the show. Bianca, peace to you, bro. Appreciate you for doing the show. Y'all collectively coming together and dropping episodes, and to be the first one to actually come on and build with you guys in retrospect to the subject matter. I'd like to thank everybody in the chat for joining in and tuning in, to those of you who will catch the replay in the archives. So I want to say officially, ETM Hotel, Rennie, Sean, it's welcome and peace. My name is Sean. And also Jama and Boca out there, to all of my Senegambian family out there. You know what I mean? That's, peace and love, family. So, man, I'm glad to be here. I'm just ready to build, man. I'm going to leave it at that, short and sweet.
Okay, cool. So I get straight into it, and then I kind of let you go on for however long you want to. I know the questions are kind of simple, but so we're gonna get straight into it. So my first question for you today is, what would you say is your interest in writing quirk? Like what keeps you focused and locked in and keeps your attention? You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of us suffer from short attention spans and shit nowadays. So what keeps you going, man?
Depends on the subject matter. Really, if it's some stuff that I feel like the people really got to know, then that could be a driving force into what keeps me locked in and writing. But to be honest with you, like arguing too much on a subject matter motivates me to write. So if I hear the same thing just over and over and over again, and, we try to beat it up the simplest way, present information and provide it to people for them to properly understand it. And then it's like a continuous thing. Then it's like, okay, I'm going to go a little bit deeper than that on y'all. And I'm going to let it drive me either to write an article for a journal, or, you know what I mean, or a chapter in one of our collective books. Or, if the subject matter is real severe, then I'm going to just give it to you a whole book. So that's pretty much my quirk right there. But when I get started, because of how tedious writing is, and you've already read all of these collective body of books, and you've obtained knowledge and, took notes and all this, and now you're ready to start writing, you really got to have your methodology in order, because there's different perspectives or writing scripts or styles that you want to get into. And we'll probably discuss that later. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I was going to say, hold on, miss, the methodology. You get into my good questions now, man. So let me go on to the second one. Now, I find that interesting, right? So is it like a frustration? Because like what we were saying a couple minutes ago, how we argue things that are facts. Do you find stuff that's not worth arguing? Like for just a random example, people say the earth is flat. That is the most ridiculous thing ever, right? So do you find yourself go into the extreme as to writing something in response to like the ridiculous stuff? Or is it just like a drive to educate the people just in general and overall? Like, is it more of an empathetic thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so no, I'm not gonna write about stupid stuff. It has to be a collective push, meaning
Yeah,
the severity of the topic has to have implications that are send either shockwaves or requires further elaboration. Like
yeah,
simple-minded stuff like the Earth is flat, or for instance, vaccine injuries or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna overexhaust something like that. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah, yeah,
we got too much evidence or about that as of now. And we just need to
yeah.
properly educate ourselves or edify ourselves on certain things. So it would have to be something that I feel like that can advance a body of knowledge and give us an opportunity to fully grasp and understand it in the most simplest terms that I can express it.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Got you, got you, got you. So, and I spoke with you before on what you did as a career, but I'm calling you a writer, even if you don't call yourself a damn writer. You in the echelons, and deserving of the title of being a writer. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I hear my
I'm gonna
dog
keep
in
it.
the background.
Nah, I can't hear. I can't hear.
Go ahead, my bad.
Nah, you good. I'm gonna keep it at a buck though. You feel me? I'm gonna keep it a buck because you probably don't think this. You probably don't think it about yourself, but I'm telling you, that's what you are. I can't even give you a chance to say you're not one. So the question is, when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer? Like
I've
what?
been writing since a kid.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm like poetry, raps, letters. I've been writing since a kid. I've always been artistic in my expression. It's one way for me to express myself. But as far as like writing, I had no problem doing like research papers and stuff like that
yeah,
as a kid. It was common. It would come to me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I would go to my grandmother's. She kept those Encyclopedia Britannicas, the volume
yeah,
sets. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the wiki before wiki. And think about having to update that when some information wrong in one of them. Yo, that's crazy. But nah,
Yeah,
I always had a thing for like history and science and stuff like that. So that that stems a lot of the passion. But yeah, I always been one to write, man. You know what I'm saying? Since I was a
oh,
kid.
okay, that's what's up. That's what's up, bro. Because myself, I got like I think like 3 poems or 4 poems published online. Um, and this is another question, right? And I only say this to say, I had this, I felt the same way. Y'all gonna laugh at me, especially DMG, especially Piaki, bro. Cause I'll be on Piaki head about his goddamn. I call him an Egyptomaniac, right? But it's funny though,
Mhm.
because my first introduction to literature and writing is being interested in like King Tut and Egyptology and you know what I mean, stuff like that. My pops would pass me the that time that National Geographic had that article on the Black Pharaohs and stuff like that. So they got me
Mhm.
wanting to be an archaeologist to be able to document and add and write about this. But
The
anyway,
hypocrisy. I tell you about the hypocrisy, man.
listen
Go
though,
ahead.
listen
Go
though.
ahead.
But one thing I will say though is I find that with rap, I find that a lot of us, especially I'm talking Black people, right? A lot of us will rap. We find this crazy mode of expression to music, and it kind of evolves over time into like a love of literature and poetry. I mean, can Shy, you get what I'm saying? Like, can you agree with that? Like, how what you feel about that? Like the connection between rap and hip hop. I ain't talking about the goofy. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the actual art form and how it evolves in most of our lives, most Black people lives into poetry.
Yeah, it was just a form of expression. Like you could paint a picture. You know what I'm saying? All good lyricists are great poets in their own way, but some of them may not be able to perform that poetry in public. but they may be able to rap it a little bit better than the actual art of poetry. And we see this we saw this in, for instance, Tupac, right? Actor, poet, rapper. You know what I mean? He knew how to articulate and express his words in a manner that would command attention and get people to, to vibe with him. And that's a tool. It was a useful tool for him. But, let's say somebody like, for instance, like Jay-Z, as an example, he might be able to rap his way through a cappella or whatever through some stuff and tell his story, right? Because really, great lyricists are great storytellers, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that we've always been good at. Folklore. If we looked at folklore, poetic folklore, in the sense of that we look at rap, then historically you will look at that and be like, yo, this is something that we always had. And it is something that we always had. And then it goes from there.
I feel like rappers, bro, or I feel like rap enthusiasts, bro. To some extent, we like old griots, the soothsayers.
Correct.
You feel me? We like the adaptation of adapting to our environment and evolving and developing and becoming like soothsayers in a sense, So
yeah.
Let me get to the next one now. Now this is something interesting. Because I know most of your books, the topics are related to what we deal with in the conscious community.
Mm-hmm.
But do you hear from your readers much, and what kind of things they say? And I ain't talking about the crazies, because I know the crazies gonna give you some trouble with the topic. But I mean people that genuinely read your work and enjoy it.
Yeah, I get stuff from people all the time. You know what I mean? Like people that actually cop the books and read them or whatnot. I get good feedback. And this is just to be clear on something. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else might make a joke about it, but just to be clear on something, like the COVID book, people appreciated the font size, but it was clowned by someone else, but it was appreciated by other people because they said, man, I'm glad that you wrote it this way because I could actually see the words on the page. I didn't have to struggle to actually read the book. You know what I mean? And this is a critical piece of information that's been used as a tool to help educate a lot of people and help them make decisions about should they even get vaccinated. You know what I mean? So or they like the way that I formatted the book, meaning with the questions and answers in the back of the chapters, where I located the sources. They like the way I did that. It'll be something in the edification that they'll look at and say, you know what, hey, yo, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? And then kind of go from there. But overall, I try to like really give people different aspects of what's going on so that people can appreciate what I'm trying to do. It's similar to the presentations.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get to the next one. Okay. So now this one is your. I know you're gonna give us a lot on this one. What is the importance of methodology in historiography, or methodology? Let me make that a little more broad. What is the importance of methodology when doing research on anything? I mean anything. Period.
Well, first of all, you got to know, you got to learn the tools. You got to learn how to you got to learn the tools that are actually used to answer whatever questions that you may have about your natural world or unnatural world, right? So, or the position that you take or the position you don't take on the subject matter. So, for instance, there's a method to riding a bike. There's a method to putting a bike together. There's a method in design, you know what I'm saying? In basically every element of our lives, there's a method. There's a method in driving a freaking car, shooting a gun, shooting a basketball, throwing a football. There's mechanics, all of those things. So people don't even look at that. that way. You know what I'm saying? But if we really want to hone in on the situation, we use methodology every day. Some incorrectly, some out of place, some just, you know what I mean? And then some fail to adhere to the standards that are required to help them answer or utilize or demonstrate the proper behaviors. So when you look at it in that sense, right? I'm gonna take it to football. Tom Brady can throw a football. Cool. But go look at the work that Tom Brady puts in to actually help him become more accurate in throwing a football. You know what I'm saying? We seen people throw a football 70, 75, almost 80 yards down a football field with a big arm. They call them a live arm because you can throw it far, right? But can you throw it accurate? And in order to throw an accurate ball, you have to practice your mechanics. Those mechanics are going to come from an instructor who's going to give you some type of method on how to do these things. It's going to be in your footwork. It's going to be in your it's going to be with your hips. It's going to be the way you turn your shoulders. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be where your fingers are located on the football. If you are your fingers on the laces? Do you have the tip of the ball? Like it's so much that goes into that, right? So people don't even look at that way. It's a method to everything that we actually do. So are we entrenched in trying to actually utilize the correct methods to actually answer research questions that we have in the community or as a whole in our general lives? Because if, for instance, if you're in a financial crisis, a personal financial crisis, right? You're going through a situation, you don't know how to resolve your issues, and all you got is $200 to your name, and you're not one of the people that be on the corner every day, but you're trying to figure out a way to make that $200 stretch to the end of the week, or there's an opportunity that may present itself, you have to go do your research. But on that opportunity, but you got to know what you're looking at, so you got to be learned and taught, and then you exercise those rights to help you elaborate and execute. So, you know, you got people that want to skip steps, and sometimes you might get somewhere skipping steps, but you're not gonna get where you really want to go in skipping steps. So yeah, you know, methodology is key. It's a big deal. Somebody, Sutex said it's blunt rolling methods. But boy, crazy.
Yeah, that's fact. Hey, that's Sutex. That's my boy.
Yeah. But I mean, look at it. Look at the truth of the matter. Like, you know, so when you're talking about writing a book, there's mechanics, there's methods that actually go into that. You know what I mean? Especially depending on what type of book that you're trying to write. So if you're dealing with the topics that we deal with in the community, are you writing something to refute something? Are you writing something to advance something? Or are you writing something, you know, even in fiction, right? Think about it. You just can't write a fictional book and then make it make sense. And you all over the place. Your chapters ain't lined up correctly. Your storytelling sucks. Like, you got to have some type of method to do that. We just don't look at those things. That when you go to work, you go through train. When you get hired for a new job, the first thing they do is they train you behind. I don't know if it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, however long that they train you, 2 weeks, they training you to do the job the proper way. That's your method. And then they want you to go out and apply that method over and over and over again, replicating success. And when you're unable to replicate success, then they give you ways to adjust and fine tune things. But with proper research methodology, you get models, and in the methods, you get these models. And if you adhere to the models and you follow the standards, you're going to be able to erase your biases, if they exist. If the research supports your bias, then you stay on your square. But if you have a bias going in, you ain't even doing your shit right. Because you can't do proper research with a bias.
Yeah.
You got to do unbiased research.
And you know what's crazy? I want you to go in on the research tip a little bit more, because talking about bias and unbiased research, I was having a conversation with somebody in one of these wild back chats, a conversation I really should ignore. And I asked her, what were your steps of verification? Like, what method how did you come to this conclusion? And I couldn't get an answer, right? So I find it's becoming problematic when they quickly Google something. And what happens when you quickly Google something, and I didn't heard you say this, you can attest to this. What happens is either you might find a correct source, you might get down to the bottom of the matter, or what'll happen is you will find out half of it, or you will misunderstand what's even going on in whatever you just looked up. You know what I mean? Like it's very, very important. It is essential. Like you were saying, there's a method to everything you do. When you go to work, you get trained because you got to learn the method of how to be successful in that particular position at your job.
Right.
So, yeah, man.
So
I just asked you that question because I wanted you to harp on that because of how important it is. Because you know what I mean? Because it's like nobody cares about it.
Nah, they care, but they don't care. You feel me? They care when they care if it supports their bias. They don't care if it doesn't support their bias. So that's what I mean by you got to do unbiased research, because everybody accidentally or inherits a bias. But it's up to you to go in and do the rigorous work to falsify that position. And proper research methodology helps you do what science instructs us all to do, and that's to falsify the evidence. Now, if we are unable to falsify the evidence, then that'll go into basically a scientific law per se. And we have to look at it that way because that's the reality of the situation at whole. So when you're arguing with someone in the back chat and they quickly Google something, like a lot of people, they'll do that on a live show. Then you have to question the vetting process, right? Okay, you pulled the source up, but have you critiqued the source, right? What qualifies, why are we using this source? What qualifications does this source provide for us to even, advance the subject matter? If we're getting a bunch of more questions that are circulating and swirling around the source, then you already know it ain't even worth us even dealing with it. So we have to utilize our reading comprehension to help us answer certain things. And most of the time, people don't have that type of patience to be able to do something. You can't work out your pseudoisms on a live stream, meaning you can't.
I hate to interrupt you, Shad, but what kills me, bro, is they'll Google something and pull up something, and they ain't even read the whole thing because when you get to the bottom, it'll say, but there wasn't enough study done on this to come up with a correct, any type of conclusion on it.
I give you the Egypt. Just look at the Egypt argument. You got brothers that'll go to Wiki and start talking about the genetic, the DNA samples that was used or extracted. Out of 100 and some, they only did really 3 samples, right? That ain't even enough when you're talking about the overall population of a people. You're talking about millions of people. How you gonna determine, right, the genetic makeup of millions of people under the pretense of 3 results? It makes no sense. So, it's just having that understanding and being able to really go through the tools, the steps to help you answer it. What is your purpose for inserting yourself into the discussion? Then after you ask yourself that, you got to ask, other questions, right? You got to help you formulate a hypothesis. If you ain't doing none of that and you just injecting yourself into a conversation, then 9 times out of 10, you really just got ill malice and intent to be able to, because you just gonna muddy up the shit. You're gonna muddy it up all day. you're gonna mess it up and ain't nobody gonna learn nothing.
Okay. I appreciate that. So let's get to the next one, right? What do you think we can do to increase and spread general intellectual curiosity to people who look like us? How can we inspire them to go Google some shit, man? I mean, to do more than Google some shit. Excuse me.
Yeah. So, reading and writing will never be attractive.
Why you say that?
Because what's attractive, what's grown to be attractive is television, right? Television became attractive because, you took your head out of a book instead of reading, like, for instance, you said you read fictional books. A lot of movies that are out now, a lot of movies, earlier on coming up were books initially. Those books were transferred into movie format. But to get the whole context of those movies, you needed to read the whole book because there's things in the book that wasn't in the movies. For instance, we could talk about Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X. Is everything in the autobiography of Malcolm X in the movie? No. But there's that's a summarized version of it. And then of course you gotta go doctor it up, and you know what I mean? You might embellish a little bit, or you might add somebody's personal account that wasn't in the book. You got all kind of situations with that. But watching Malcolm X's movie, the Malcolm X movie that Spike Lee put on, was more attractive than sitting there and reading that book. But one thing about it for me is that I actually read that book, the autobiography of Malcolm X, and then I saw the movie as well. So, I could follow along with the movie a little bit, and I could see where they, skipped slots, certain aspects of what was going on. And you see that. So you have to you have to look at that like that. So when I say that it's not attractive, it's because they made shortcuts. Then it went from those long movies. Okay, so I'm gonna really hit you hard right here. They went from those long movies, right, to TV shows. The TV shows was less than the movies, and then it turned out being something else, right? All right, same thing with rap. We used to get 3 verses on a song. 3 verses. And then you had your hooks inserted in there. And the song used to be, the average time for the song used to be somewhere almost like 4 minutes, maybe 5, depending on the beat, or if they ride out the bridge or whatnot, or the hook, you know what I'm saying? They let it ride out. It used to be like that. Nowadays, you getting 2-minute. You're getting 2-minute songs and 2 verses. It's different. They cut that in half. So now they got, when you used to get 20 songs on an album, you know what I'm saying? In some instances, or maybe even the average, maybe somewhere around between 12 and 16 on some albums. And the maximum being somewhere around 20 something to all the way down to 8 songs. And then they'll LP you at 5 songs. I mean, an EP you at 5 songs. Okay, that's cool. But an album nowadays will have like 8 to 10 songs on it. You like, where the music at? And it's like 20 minutes. You used to ride around, used to be able to put a CD in a car, and drive at least for an hour off one CD. So, and Sutek talking about, and the bars cut short. You used to get a hot 16 and you getting a 12. You know what I mean? So everything has been shortened. So what that does is it plays on our attention span, and now our attention span is short. So now we used to write letters. When I was growing up, we used to write letters to chicks. Now it's 140 characters. You know what I'm saying? Now you can send a text. You ain't got to write no more. You can send a text. right? And now you ain't even got to send a text. You can send a little, you can send a little video. You ain't even got to send a video because that's gonna have a time limit on it. You can FaceTime or not even get to FaceTime just yet. If you trying to communicate with a mass, you got TikTok. All of that stuff is time restricted. So people attention spans is real short. You know what I'm saying? And they made that attractive instead of the intelligence of a person. So, you know, it kind of gets there and goes on from that perspective when you're dealing with stuff like this, man. And ultimately, it's, we just got to do a better job in making intellectual sexy again. If it ever was sexy from the beginning with some people struggle with that. And I think in order to do that, you got to have women. You have to have women demand that out of men. And if they demand that sexiness, the first thing that black men gonna do is they gonna change their game because everybody trying to be hard now. Everybody want to be the toughest. Everybody want to be the roughest. But if women valued in intellectualism, if that soaked the panties, trust me, dudes don't play the tough role no more.
Hey, son. Hey, man, you'll have a gang of Barnes and Nobles filled with nothing but niggas, man.
Right.
Hey, that's funny though. That's facts. I didn't even think about it like that. That's facts. That's facts. That's facts. So then I got one last question for you. And then I want you to just let us know about some of your work, about your latest work. And you know what I mean? And do your thing and rock out. So now this gonna be controversial. And this getting more into like the conscious community stuff. Why do you believe we abandon most of our West African roots for cultures foreign to us? And I think you understand exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's easy work. Yeah. First of all, our oppressors, whether Arabic or European, demonized it and didn't make it safe, or they tried to syncretize them. But we tried to syncretize them and hold on to certain aspects of our culture that they wouldn't let us hold on to. But they demonized it. They made it unattractive. They made theirs more attractive, more appealing. You probably heard Garfield say this one time before, but the afterlife, that was a big deal. The virgins, you know what I'm saying, having numerous amounts of virgins, or this whole Jesus walk on water thing, you know what I'm saying, or selling you on that. Like they sold people. They're still selling people, but they sold people into believing that. With African traditions, you don't have a list of people, these missionaries going around trying to sell you on the ideology of these different traditions and culture, or what we call kimoyo. That's not what Africa does, or not what Africa represents in that instance. So you can't really get the truth out of that. So we abandoned it because we thought that we had to in order to be accepted among the people that were enslaving and conquering us, and who were, pretty much the dominant culture, or the dominant person at that time. So we did a lot of things out of ignorance, and then we did a lot of things, in secrecy and stuff. But ultimately, it all comes down to our 70 year. It all comes down to that.
Yeah, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. If I will keep it a buck, bro. If I'm in West Africa, right, and most of my personal ancestors, they come from Nigeria, Ghana, and mainly Nigeria and Ghana, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say I'm somewhere on the West Coast, and most of our ancestors was living a hunter-gatherer, somewhat similar to a hunter-gatherer lifestyle, right? If somebody came to me and I ain't know nothing about the world, they told me, yo, when you die, my boy, you're going to be reborn again, right? As long as you're a good person, you're going to be reborn again in the same body except your eye that's throwed off, it's not gonna be throwed off no more. Your leg, you know what I mean? You walking with the little limp, one leg a little bit shorter than the other, both legs gonna be the same length. You feel me? Hey, can't nothing beat that, bro. Can't nothing beat that. I would have been in. I ain't gonna hold you. I would have been right in. But now with that, I want you to go straight into your work, bro. Give us what you got.
If I can chime in real quick, I just got one question for our brother before he get into his stuff. Let me get your opinion on this. And you know, recently it's been this dialogue. Rocky alluded to it earlier and mentioned his hypocrisy. My ancestors come from.
You wrote for that.
my ancestors come from West Africa, mostly Nigeria, Ghana, etc. Right? Is it hypocritical of me, or am I out of pocket per se for studying the Kemetic tradition from a history and cultural standpoint, not from a religious standpoint, but just the history and culture? Is that a conflict or a contradiction, given that my ancestry is from West Africa?
Nah, well, actually, as descendants of Africa, whether West or Central directly, and not everyone descend directly from Central or West Africa. You might have some people that had South Central or East Central or East or Northeast. However the case may be, you're an African. You're of African descent, and you're an amalgamation of a bunch of people from all different parts of West Africa or Central Africa and otherwise. So you have the ability to study whatever it is on the continent that you want to study. If that's going to help you gain not only some type of knowledge of yourself and historical perspective, a knowledge of what Africans have done in the past or have contributed to Homo sapiens sapien, you had a right to do that. Do we feel like people abandoning West Africa? No. The first thing that when we come into the community, a lot of people, the first thing that you hear around the world is Egypt, Kemet, all day long, because it's more sought after. They haven't commercialized West Africa in certain aspects. Among the Yoruba, I think they're trying to commercialize it. They have efforts to commercialize it, and you may see that be the next big wave. But as far as Kemet goes, it's been commercialized. It's been sought after by all people, not just one set of people. The emerging factor of that is that a lot of people are fighting over certain historical aspects of that, and to own its glory days per se, right? You don't have another place in history that's ruled for thousands of years, consistently been at the top like that. Look at Russia, look at America. We can just go back over the last 60 years, right? Just the last 60 years, if we're talking about world powers. You know what I'm saying? If you look at that, the world powers then up until recent, the United States hadn't always been a world power, not as dominant as it has been up until China start making reigns. But they all got something in common if you just really look at history. And is where they're looking to. So, nah, man, you ain't wrong for studying Kemet. You just have that flexibility to be able to do that. You recognize where you came from because you just told me that. But I don't get into all of that. What I do get into when people start jumping over West Africa and going to Kemet is how they romanticizing Kemet and how they are pretty much lying on the Remich. and then they're insinuating things on the remit that never really transpired. You know what I'm saying? But if people are being truthful in their studies, then you can't deny them of that, man. We look crazy telling someone to stop studying Africa or a certain area in Africa. That might be where they, you know what I'm saying? That might get them to one place and lead them in a different direction. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, man. But you being too nice, man. You got folks walking around talking about the Falcon Head God.
Hey, man. Hey, Rocky.
No, I wasn't
Rocky,
getting.
you already exposed
Rocky.
I
wasn't
focus on your King Tut poem, man.
Yeah, I wasn't getting into that. Now, when they start talking about that, you know, elements of like these deities being true and real, and that's the religious sect doing that, man. Them people didn't walk around, man. Them deities are just as creative as all the deities on the continent, man. You take you all the way back to folklore and rap. You know what I'm saying? Storytelling and poetry.
The only time you're going to hear me say I saw a falcon-headed deity is when I want to piss Sabio off. That's the only time you're going to hear me say that.
Yeah, that's personal.
When I want to argue with Sabio, then I say some crazy stuff like that. Otherwise, you know I'm good money. But go ahead, bro. It's on you, Rocky. Y'all can finish up.
Nah. I have no more questions for him. I want him to go in and go in about his latest work and talk about whatever he want to talk about. Take the floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah, there you can see it a little bit. So, yeah, man. First of all, I just want to kind of run down what got us going in the direction that we were going in, and then how we built from there. So I want to line everybody up with, and they already in the chat, the links in the chat, but our journey started with Spears of the Mossy. I know it's kind of hard because of my background, but I'm gonna try to. I had it on here for y'all, but yeah, it started with Spears of the Mossy, which is this white book to keep going in and out. And hold on, I'm gonna make it a little bit better for y'all. Choose virtual, none. All right, so we had Spears of the Mossy, right? It's our first publication from the Kofi Pie research team. This book was inspired by brothers. We all sat down, wanted to do something. Our dear brother T'Challa came up with the name. We went to work on it right there, forward by Black Panther and in his text. We followed it up with a volume 2. This is an author's copy from Spears to Pen. You know what I'm saying? We added a little bit more work in there, and we went from there. Then we got to Spiritual. We thicked it out, right? Spiritual Combat, volume 3. And then we followed it up with Chavis making his introduction to the group and Spearmasters. And this is the volume 4 book. We also got some other books. I'm not really going to show all of them. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, from that collective, you know, you had Kofi drop his little work right here. I came back with From Cocaine to Consciousness, right? You know what I'm saying? In the thick of things. One Night Before Bed and Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland for the children. We dropped them books for the children. And in the thick of all of that, you know what I'm saying? Killmonger's Corner was dropping. This is the first Pan-African journal in the Black community. I mean, the conscious community. And Black Panther, you see his emblem right here. He did that, put on. And then I'm in this too. So everything I'm showing you, I'm actually in it. But then, you know, we had Brother Chavis not only join the team, but drop a work behind that, expounding on his work that he put in volume 4. And as you said, Rocky, you talked about the pandemic. And this ain't all our books, because we got the Spearmasters, we got some more coloring books and Spearmasters book out. But I dropped this text right here. This text is instrumental for, you know, handling business regarding the pandemic. And like I said, I want to speak to this real quick. This book did really well, but What makes this book significant is that doctors got their hands on my book. That's bigger than people in the conscious community or fake perpetrating a fraud or acting like they burning a book, but they didn't. I mean, they did, but they still got other copies of the book. That's bigger than that. You know what I mean? Doctors read my book, having a patients read my book. You know what I'm saying? They're showing up at these clinics and hospital sites to see their doctors, and this is right there in their face. You feel me? So this book actually did better than what people expected, helped save some lives, helped get people vaccinated. And then, of course, this book is on the way, right? The coming of Islam in the land of the blacks, right? So this how the book looking. Let me get the glare from the TV out. Boom. Right? So as you can see, spine covering the whole 9, on the back of the book. We're going to get in there. Now, I got various chapters in here. And as I told you before, this book was inspired by the Moorish brother, Abadabadu. Abadabadu led me to write this because I was watching him and our brother, I don't want to say his name, but him and another brother was having a conversation, and they pretty much was going back and forth a little bit, and he was romanticizing Islam and all of that, talking about how it didn't come into peace and the whole 9 yards, and how it came in peace and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I wanted to deal with some of the things that he actually said, and then we tackled that. Now, I had to get a new forward done, you know what I'm saying? Because it was initially done by the book burner, but now I'm just playing.
Did he say Abadabadu with a straight face though, man? That's what I'm trying off of.
Yeah. So Albert, had to deal with that, but nah, man. I got about 7 chapters in this particular book. It's over like 23 or so, 24, something like that. Sources. There's a lot of instrumental work, but I just wanted to contribute to that because I needed to contribute to that, but I also wanted to deal with a lot of what's going on. Not many people got books. They usually got PDFs, but this is some of the books you can see over there that I deal with the subject matter. Now I can lift my laptop up and you can go down, right, and still see more books. And then I got another bookshelf downstairs with books. And then I got books behind me and on the grounds over there, you know what I'm saying? I still got books, but the job is to make sure that we move the community forward and we get the babies learned. We want to make sure that we get the babies learned and we keep this information going. So we put together a body of knowledge that be able to stand the test of time. See, I might die. Not no might, but when I die, my words don't. My words will outlive me. And people will always have access to my words. Now, I'm bringing this book up in particular because there's something critical here that I wrote. And I'm going to give it to you. I get in the shrines of Africa. Most people don't even know I talk about shrines, yo. I talk about shrines right here, because our dear brother, we got a dear brother that has shrines in his, have shrines in his home, and people don't even, get to him about the shrines, but that. But it's also people talk about where you from and how you coming. I'm gonna give y'all a piece of something. When you get this book, you can get this book on Amazon. You get this book, you need to read that. The Beauty of West African Culture, Traditions, and influence, right? I dropped this on people, yo. I dropped this on people. And I walk y'all through, man, I walk y'all through and I source it up. You know what I'm saying? I walk y'all through some stuff right here, man, that's gonna help you. But that ain't it. You know, you got a Star Imhotep, you got Static from Dead Presidents, you got Sister Alima in this book with some poetry. We got some artwork in this book. You know what I'm saying? You got Saneb from MBK or Each One Teach One. He in this book. You know, Okonfu, who's a Masa Warrior Clan member. He in the book. B. Dot the God, rapper. He in the book. He interviewed out in the book. You know what I'm saying? You got Baruti. You got Baruti and Wu Jawu. They in this book. Ankh Banu. And it's the volume 1 piece right here. And I got one, I think I got 1 or 2 in here. Kofi in this Joker. You know what I'm saying? So we really just be working and try to move the community forward. Now, we don't get much attention like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got a lot of viewers and stuff like that. But what we do offer, man, is an opportunity to educate the people and move the needle forward. And that's how we gonna handle it. You know what I mean? Because that's the only way that we know how to handle it, is to properly edify ourselves and then move the pendulum forward. And that's one way to do that, man, is in writing. You know, these people arguing about ancient Kemet, arguing about the Dogon, arguing about wanting to be Hebrews and all of that stuff. If they're serious about it, they'll put pen to paper and write. And for some of those people who have already written, that come from some of those communities, of course, they didn't show proper research methodology in their works, and we bear witness to it. And we can see that in their works, missing page numbers, missing sources, misrepresenting sources, you know what I'm saying? Little plagiarisms, all of that stuff. So we see that because we read that. I was looking in the chat, so yeah, you know. So we try to do what we do, man, and to move the people forward. You know what I'm saying? And that's our goal. That's our aspirations as a team. And when we present, we want to present in a scholarly manner. You know, minus all the arguing. I know a lot of people get entertained by all the noise that people make, and the bickering, the beefing, and all of that. When you peel back the layers of the conscious community, man, we're not on the outside. We're the core of the conscious community, because without that core, you don't get the other things. But although the core is covered up by these other layers, you know that we're there, and we're slowly inside that onion. We're slowly getting to a point to where we could actually dominate the conversations. But as long as you have people that are muddying the waters and things of that nature and mocking, I believe, the pecking order in which they believe to be rap consciousness, you know, battle rap consciousness now. As long as we allow that to dominate, then you know, reading will never be sexy. Intellectualism will always be looked at as pretty much like West African history or African history as a whole, or African culture as a whole. It'll be demonized, and it'll be demonized by people too ignorant to understand we're actually answering the questions that will move people forward. But that's it, man. That's my piece, man. You know, I don't want to too much go long-winded on that. You know what I mean? I thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate Bianca, you having Rocky, you invite me. And we getting a build. If there's any other questions, comments, anything like that that people want to throw my way or that you want to ask me, feel free.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it, bro. And this just been episode 1 of Writer's Corner. And the brother Rocky gonna keep bringing people on who are writers, be it in the genre of our brother or fiction, poetry, etc. And I put up a poll asking, would you rather see this kind of content over the typical religious conversations or a healthy balance? And, you know, everybody, it's pretty much 46% said a healthy balance. So we definitely feel like we're doing something right. So we're going to keep it going for y'all. And did y'all want to end it, or y'all want to take questions from the chat, Rocky? I don't know what you was prepared for.
Yeah, man, if you want to take questions from the chat, he can take questions. I'm cooking right now. But I'm here, you know. If you want to take questions, he can. But if we want to close it all out, we can close it all out.
That's right. You did say that at the beginning. My bad.
It's up to you, man. It's up to you, Piank. If you see any questions that somebody might want to be asking, you know what I mean, I can get into it a little bit. Cool. I got
okay. I'll put the link in the chat. We only gonna take 3 people. We'll see what we get.
Yeah, come on, Sabio, Teddy. Y'all watching, man. Hop on the link, man. Ask the man some questions, man. Ask the man some questions.
Yeah, we'll take 3 people and call it a day. So yeah, come on in. We only gonna take 3 people. If you got a question for our brother, come in, ask your questions, make your comment, and then we're gonna burn on out. Teddy talking about drop a poem. Hey Teddy, for real, I'm gonna go ahead, because the young brother Rocky that inspired your boy. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that book, Love and Life, Volume 1 by DMG the Poet. So be on the lookout. And since you said you always telling me to drop a poem, you better be the first one that buy it.
Hey man, you need to go ahead and drop the book, man. Quit playing, man.
Yeah, we'll publish it for you, man. You know, Sign Tree, different branch. We do logos, we edit books, we make book covers. You know what I'm saying? We do all kind of stuff, man. So a lot of the graphic things that you will see on Kofi Pie Research Team or the Master Warrior Clan, or Science with Sean, you know, the video graphics and stuff like that. Yeah, we doing that just to up the ante a little bit, man. It's all about the production. So
okay.
We with all that.
That's what's up. Let's see, we got anybody jump in yet?
Yeah, that's a question in the chat. How much creme brulee have I had? Man, I ain't had no creme brulee in a while, bro. As a matter of fact, I would have loved to have some today. Unfortunately, I didn't, so I couldn't get it.
Man, I just had some last night, man. That might be the best dessert, man.
You eat it too?
What'd you say?
You eat it too?
He said, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
okay. It's like the best dessert ever, bro.
Yeah, it's easy and smooth, yo.
We just straight started talking about dessert up in this mud.
Nah. He replied to the chat. But I mean, if we don't have no questions, yeah. If we don't have no questions and nobody want to hop in, we can go ahead and close it out.
Yeah, we can close it out. So one more time. Hey, Rocky, let the people know what you got going on, where to find you. Same thing with you, Sean.
All right.
And go ahead and close them out.
All right, I'll let Sean go. I'll let Sean go last and close us out. Y'all know it's Culture Cannabis Coffee Enthusiast. You can find me on the Paradigm Shift TV, and more things is coming. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, man. Well, of course, y'all already know you can find me on the Master Warrior Clan YouTube channel, Kofi Pie Research Team YouTube channel, or Science with Sean. You can catch me on those 3 channels, man. If I'm on Science with Sean, it's either shenanigans or science. If I'm on the Mossy, you know it's all business. If I'm on the Kofi Pie side, you know it's all business. I'm gonna stand up and defend Africa no matter what, no matter who's in the way, no matter what new group forms, or no matter what perspective or ideology they have to try to attack it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna educate and give people the real. You need context in your life. Reading is fundamental. You can't microwave every subject matter. That's not how research methodology, that's not how research works. Imagine Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, John G. Jackson, Chancellor Williams, Hubert Harrison, right? All of those people that people like to put in front of you and tout and big up and shout out all the time. Imagine them microwaving some information, right? You know how much more they would have gotten wrong. And I say much more because they got some stuff wrong, but they didn't have the internet and they didn't have the actual tools that was necessarily needed for them to advance scholarship. So imagine them today. We would be further along as a community of people that all would take to the likings of the same thing if they had the access. So look at how I want to say this without dissing everybody. Look at how we're misusing the internet, these platforms, right? These are perfect opportunities for us to properly edify our people and advance them forward using sound research methodology and scholarship. But we have not done that job properly. We have invested ourselves in some instances in educating and advertising ignorance. And I say all of that to say, man, you can catch me on them 3 channels and any of these brothers that may have me on at any time. That's me. Peace.
Hey, the brother said it all right there. So once again, this has been Paradigm Shift TV 314. This has been Writer's Corner episode 1. We'll be back at y'all again. Stay tuned. Stay African. We are out. That's peace.